We're talking about independence, and we can't talk about getting a slice of the American dream if we don't hit on independence from that damn rent. Joining me now to dive into the conversation is real estate expert Samson Varghese.
You know, each year people spend thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars on rent, but at the end of the day, they own nothing. And so we brought you on to talk about getting rid of that rent, that freedom, that independence, and building the American dream, building the financial wealth in your family with home ownership.
Yeah. Hey, it's great to be here, Isaiah. And to your point, yeah, it is the American dream, and it's something that we're all working to get towards. And there's a couple things you can do to get there, right? You know, everyone needs a place to live, so we all got to start somewhere, whether we're renting or you can kind of just land into a house, you inherit it or something like that. But if you need to start renting and you need to get out of it, you got to come up with a plan, right? So you're going to want to try to keep your expenses low. And what I tell my clients and tell my peers is, if you have credit, get your credit card expenses down, get all that stuff in order, right? Get your house in order. Get all your bills and paid on time, because banks will go to look at you and they're going to say, hey, we need a person with a good credit score. We're going to need a person that's responsible, because a bank doesn't know you. So they're going to want to know you. So you're going to have to get that stuff lined up to start with.
And Samson, for those who are wondering, what's a decent credit score where the bank will say, or the mortgage company will say, we're going to take a chance on this person?
You know, over the years, these things have kind of escalated up. I think if you'll be a golden person if you're above 720. And before, years ago, people were like, oh my gosh, that's so high. But nowadays, that's kind of like the norm. So that's a goal that you can put on your vision board and say, hey, I want to be in that 720 range. If you're going to be, it's a sliding scale. So a bank's going to look at you and be like, well, you know, you might have a lower credit score based on some things you did in the past, but you know what? You've been solid the last few years. You got a good job. We can work with you. So everything is subjective, but you want to have these goals for yourself, because you want to come with your A game to a bank and say, hey, I got a good credit score. I got a good job. I'm ready to roll. What can we do?
And of course, there have been a lot of measures put in place by the credit reporting agencies that allow you to report things like your cell phone bill, your streaming services bill, in order to help you build that credit up to get that number that you need. Now, let's talk about down payment. Sometimes you used to hear 10%, 20%. Are we at 30 and 40%? Because our ass would be out of luck.
That's right. Talking about luck, if you're in luck, if you're a first-time home buyer, right? There's that FHA loan, and they're very forgiving in regards to leniency, in regards to how much you need to bring down for a down payment when it's your first time buying a home. For the folks that are out there that are like, I'm looking at investment properties and whatnot, you're going to have to bring a decent amount of coin for that. But this is for people that are transitioning from renting into home ownership. So you don't have to bring too much anymore, given that housing got expensive. You got to look at it like banks or businesses too. They want to do business, but they want to have a solid person to do business with. So if they're loaning out a lot of money, they're going to be like, we want this person that has a solid job, that whole credit score we talked about. So they're not going to require you to bring too much down, but you as the person that's buying, you need to realize, well, if I don't bring too much down as a down payment, my monthly mortgage payment is going to be pretty high. So it's like a seesaw. If you bring more of a down payment, then your monthly mortgage is going to be down. So it all depends on where you're at financially and your kind of financial horizon.
And once you get into the thick of things and you're approved, or you're looking at the type of mortgage to pick up, do you want to go with a 30-year or 15-year? And we used to hear all kinds of horrible stories back when the bubble collapsed about the adjusted rate mortgages. So what would be best for a first-time home buyer going from renting to owning a property?
So the kind of interesting thing about real estate in America is that we get these long-term loans. Even if you just look to our neighbors north in Canada, they got to refinance their mortgages every 5 years. And I found that out not too long ago when I got in this business, and I thought that was insane, right? But in America, if you can pull a loan out for 30 years, debt is not necessarily a bad thing if it's in an asset like a house. A house is going to appreciate in value. So you're going to gain equity in something if you own it. So it's okay to get something that's a 30-year loan. considering the way that interest rates are high right now, if you get a 15-year loan, your monthly mortgage payment is going to be pretty high. So I would assume the 30 year is going to be safe. You'll be okay with that. You can get into, especially if it's your first time buying a house, get into a 30 year and go from there.
All right. And for those who, once you get into that house, you have a lot of responsibility. Even though now you own a slice of the American dream, you own your plot of land, you have a lot of responsibility, right, Samson?
Yes, sir. Yeah. There's taxes, there's insurance, there's property maintenance. There's going to be things that come up out of the blue. I look at a home as kind of like, it's kind of like having a kid that doesn't tell you they love you all the time. So you're going to have to take care of it. You're going to have to, paint it every couple of years. So that's why you do your research, you do your due diligence, you get with a smart real estate professional and you let them help you out. And consumers are smart these days. They'll get on Zillow, they'll get on HAR, they'll find a place that they need, but then it's up to the professional to really push it over the goal line. So as long as you have a solid team, you'll be fine.
All right. Samson Varghese. And for those who would like to reach out to you, where can they find you on social media? And of course, your website, if you have one.
Yeah, so you can reach out to me at I am Samson V. That's on Instagram. I carry a lot of content on there in regards to real estate and economics. I worked as a trader for a couple of years, and then I got into the construction industry. So reach out. I can help you. So thank you for your time, Isaiah, and it's always good to see you.
All right. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you dropping by on the Factor Uncensored.